Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have a Klever update here for you guys, so not a massive one. We're just going to skim through some really top bits of news with Klever, and we're going to a bit of the chart in a second as well. So guys, Klever obviously launched the exchange quite recently and have announced in the last couple of days, and we'll go into the next one in a second, but the first one here, listing chain link. So that's link on the exchange. So those that know chain are absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love what they're doing with smart contracts and all those cool things on the link blockchain. So yeah, the trading pairs are open on the 21st of October and it will be live on the exchange 26th of October. So the Klever exchange and Klever in general, the app is phenomenal. Go and check out our link in the description, by the way, to download for free. Helps us our channel out. So they've got fantastic, absolutely beautiful wallet aspect on there, as well as the exchange opening up as well. And I think this will become more and more popular. Trust me, the intuition and everything, the usability is fantastic. I think this kind of platform really appeals to newcomers to the space. Some might find things like quite daunting really when you come on to some of the specialized exchanges and things like that, because of the swap mechanisms and the way that the layout is done on the Klever app. In my opinion, it's absolutely phenomenal. So fair play to the guys in the marketing team and the product and the research teams for putting that together. So that is one of the key updates. And the second one, another massive one, is Polkadot. So DOT will be open trading for the following pairs on the 26th of October. So a few different ones: USDT, which is always good, Bitcoin, Klever as in KLV, and USDC as well. So that's really good news on that aspect. So go check it out. If you're a holder of Link or DOT, you might consider changing it across to this one. And finally, this was from a few days ago, auctions for the next phase of Kusama's Parachains will begin on October 23rd. So as you know, you got the Parachain and Kusama collectively putting together this Parachain aspect, where there's a multitude of different projects currently going into auction to be trying to be instated essentially, for being essentially further developed and this, that and the other. So really looking forward to seeing how this all takes on, and who, I think it's 100, isn't it? It's like the top 100 or 100 projects they're going to pick. So interesting to see if Klever gets added to that. So very much interesting developments over this next few weeks. I think it's around November time. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but so very much trying to, as it says here, the key consumer scalable multi-chain architecture Parachain share in the benefit from the security, scalability and interoperability and governance of consumer. So it's all about trying to bridge a multitude of different chains together as well, and just boosting that mechanism of what we're trying to achieve with decentralization and interoperability really. So let's see how that transpires, but it's great to see Klever involved in that. Let's go into the chart, guys. So we haven't done this one, I think, since about a week ago, I think maybe a few days back. So obviously there's not much to talk about in terms of anything that's related to the announcements the last 2 days of the interaction of DOT and Link, but we might see some action perhaps as and when they get announced. So I think we'll start seeing deposits done, and by the 26th we'll have a bit more information on that. So from that previous dip, we did make a few points in the last video that we were sort of tracking back from this sort of previous momentum. We had the launch, of course, and then we've had this big correction. Now I just planted this in before I started this video. So we've had about roughly a 77% correction from that top point of a previous all-time high, which I think is around 17 cents. So we've had the drop down now, stabilized a bit to around about this 4 cent mark, which is as of recording. But what's interesting is we put this trend line in just to show you guys that actually we're still on the way down, as it were, in a consistent pattern. The RSI hasn't really ever floated massively above this sort of 60 mark on major occasions, with the exception here around the 5th of September. It got to the 76 mark, profits were taken, and that's understandable because of the big traction that we had maybe down here profits were taken, we come back. But what I like about this right now, guys, is we're trying to find some stabilization with some support levels. And we drew we've got the long-term fib retracement here at the moment, which kind of shows and indicates in the long run we've fallen quite far behind the previous all-time high in terms of its positioning. But on the macro level, we're really starting to take note of some really key support lines across the way. So we're starting to build this momentum now in an opposite direction, almost getting this like mini V shape here. And we're trying essentially to progress ourselves to around this 4 cent mark and trying to stay above that. So we're still trying to do that. Over the last week or so, we've been penetrating this area between around 3.8 cents to the 4 cent mark and slightly over, and it's kind of tailing around here. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out over the next few days. But the ideal situation, guys, for us to move forward is to get a close over this 4 cent mark, ideally, which is just up here. So we've got a bit of a push to go, but we're getting a couple of rejections of that area in the last 2 days, including today. So it's trying to find this sort of, it sounds mental to be talking about it in this macro level, but it's literally trying to find this between this 3.8 and 3.9 and a half cents sort of mark as consolidation, really, before we can push up. So I'm trying to sort of emphasize that if I just pull that down to there, for example, and to give a bit more of a feel to this for you guys to show it a bit more visually. But we can see a lot of play around in between this section. So what we need to try and do, as I said, is keep the momentum so that we try and close around about this mark here on a consistent basis over the next 24-48 hours to push up. So I do anticipate, because the RSI is pretty much in the middle still, that there's going to be still a wary point in my mind. Am I going to accumulate more right now? Not me personally, that's not financial advice, but I'm just waiting a bit more patiently, because we are still arguably in this momentum of the downward trend still, albeit that it is very slowly improving. I just want to be cautious in the sense that there might still be an opportunity. There was, of course, one a few days back, and I do think we might come and test these lower levels of 3.7 and 3.8 again, and that to me is quite a significant difference when I'm trying to accumulate at these levels. Of course, the long run Klever is going to be absolutely massive in my opinion. We'll definitely probably get towards that all-time high, hopefully by December and beyond, and push for new price discoveries, of course. And that's why right now, for me to accumulate in good numbers, I want to try and get the best possible prices. I did a few back down here. I'm just waiting for a couple more dips. I missed this one the other day because I was too busy messing about with other projects. So hopefully there's another opportunity. And bear in mind, we put this buy area here down here in the last video, and we actually managed to hit it. So it's showing you that there's an opportunity for these areas because of the lack of support mechanism in the history. I mean, look at that. There is none really even from these points. There's nothing. So we're really battling uncertainty still, in my opinion. So I'm just being cautious on that element. So some areas of interest to me, if I'm discussing it in that way, we've already come down to here. I'm not ruling that out completely, but this area is of great interest to me because if you look naturally across these pinpoints here, there's a lot of movement and a lot of interest in this area in terms of resistance. Certainly from dropping back down again. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this area hit again and arguably slightly above that, but I'm not too fussed about that right now. I'd rather see a bit more of an interesting drop here. But hopefully, guys, in terms of positivity, I would like us to see consolidation around this area over the next 2-3 days for us to then start really testing that 4 cent mark properly and then pushing ourselves up beyond that, because this was obviously too early. We've had some major resistance on 2 occasions there, and we're still struggling with this 4.1 cent mark as well. So let's see how this goes in the next 2 days. I'll do another update video hopefully on Monday or Tuesday next week. We might see a bit more clarity as to where we're going and what we want to do with Klever. Let us know in the comments below if you're holding this awesome token and have downloaded the app. And just a gentle reminder that you can get the link and referral code in our description. Obviously the app is free. We just obviously get help through the channel by the more people that jump into that project. Go check it out, it's awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next KLV video. Bye bye.